Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, the 3 Topics Gamer, here to give you a follow-up top 5 list video to my most recent top 5 list video, for those of you who haven't already checked it out. This video will be focusing on and giving you my top 5 favorite versus series matchups that I've done. And if you haven't already, be sure to press the link in the description down below to check out the last video in which I went over the top 5 worst matchups that I've done. Before we jump into my list, if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to press that subscribe button to help grow the channel and spread the word. And without wasting any more time, let's jump right into my number 5 favorite versus series matchups that I've done for my channel. Number 5 on my list goes to a matchup that belongs to a franchise that at the very beginning I never actually expected to tackle, and at first when the idea was first brought to me I was a bit hesitant because I didn't think it could work. But after 3 videos, I'm happy to say that I'm glad I did tackle this franchise, because Assassin's Creed works extremely well with the versus series structure. And my favorite matchup amongst the 3 matchups I've done for this series has to go to my very first matchup that I did, which is Ezio versus Edward. I absolutely loved working on this matchup. I absolutely love pitting 2 characters that I have a equal amount of love and passion towards these characters, because there's no question that you know, Edward is, like, he's in my favorite Assassin's Creed game, but I do consider, you know, Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I do consider those like incredible games also, and this is coming from someone who really hated the first game, so it's amazing how much of a turnaround that the story of Ezio was able to pull off. The response for this matchup was just simply incredible. This ended up like performing a lot better, both in terms of views, in terms of thumbs up, and especially in terms of comments. I like believe it or not, my favorite part of working on the versus series in general was always the debating in the comment section. I always liked debating with people, and I always liked seeing their debates. Like, believe it or not, a lot of people don't do this, but I really do read just about every single comment that is sent to me in these matchups, and I like seeing how people are debating in the comment section, because everyone's gonna have a different point of view when it comes to certain characters or how they perform or how they react. And so this is a clear example of the very best, and it works even better because it really was, again, as I said, it was worth a franchise that I never expected would work as well as it did. And this would go on to inspire 2 other matchups, which I would say definitely worked out. They weren't quite as successful, but I would say they were just as fun to work with. So honestly, I could openly say that Assassin's Creed did end up being probably one of the most consistently popular franchises that I tackled. And had I done a 6 series, I do believe there is maybe 2 more matchups that I would like to tackle in Assassin's Creed. I think it would be fun. But comparing who I openly consider to be the greatest assassin in really the franchise, and to my personal favorite assassin, I think it's just an amazing breakdown. I thought that if I had animation, I think it would be an incredible fight to witness, and a lot of people, especially some of you guys, really enjoyed it. So just to share that amount of enjoyment really makes this matchup really stand out on its own, which is why I would place it number 5 on my list. Number 4 on my list actually goes to one of 3 matches on this list that actually comes from my all-time favorite season that I ever worked on for my Versus series, which just so happened to be Versus Series Season 2. And some of you that have been watching long enough know that I personally do not like mixing characters from different franchises, because I think it makes a breakdown a bit harder because different characters operate from different rules. But I will say this, that out of any season finale mix-up matchup that I ever did, this one was by far my all-time favorite, and that just so happens to be Season 2's finale, Virgil from Devil May Cry 3 taking on Canon Sephiroth. I absolutely loved working on this matchup. I took a lot of pleasure putting this one together. And on a side note, and a little bit of a jab to another YouTube channel, I took enormous pleasure in being able to call out that Death Battle not only was going to do this matchup years in advance, but that they were going to do something that I said that they were going to do, and I had hoped that this video was going to serve as a good counter argument to that video. And I'm happy to say that since Death Battle did upload that video, this video definitely got a lot more attention, and this, I do believe, serves as the biggest counter argument to their video. I think I did a much better job, being a solo person and doing pretty much all the editing, all the scripting, everything by myself, and not having a team like they did, and did a far better job at breaking these two down and keeping them on even terms instead of just basically taking every single version of their characters and just putting them into one body and making the fight very unbalanced, which I believe their version definitely did. But some people do prefer that version, and that's perfectly fine. But I absolutely love this breakdown. Virgil is by far my favorite character in Devil May Cry, and I do consider Sephiroth to be the all-time apex master of sword users in Final Fantasy. So this was a match made in heaven. I love the breakdown. I love how the fight breaks out. I even like how I kind of added a little bit of a story canon element to my breakdown of the fight. I just loved every aspect of breaking this one down. And I've been kind of putting this out there for years now that to this day, this video has probably one of the biggest analytical errors that I've ever done in a matchup, and yet to this day, nobody has been able to point it out. Absolutely nobody. Like, I'm going to just go on a quick little story. There's only two people that know about it, and that's me and my brother, because I told him that. And when I told him this error, he did kind of say, "Holy shit, Brian, wow, that is a massive error." But he was kind of shocked that no one had been able to point it out. And I'm kind of glad too. Like, no, even to this day, no one has noticed the serious error in one of the facts in this video, and I don't think anyone ever will. So I think I kind of I think I have a little bit of leverage over everybody. But it isn't. I don't think the error breaks the final outcome of how I think this fight will play out. But it's definitely something that a lot of people, if they knew what the error was, would be shocked. But yeah, this is without question, like, as I said earlier, I typically don't like mixing franchises together, but this is the perfect matchup to pull that up for, and I'm just glad that this video was as popular as it was. It's definitely one of the most successful and most best positively responded videos I've ever done. I wish I had more matchups like this, but I guess this is just one of the very rare gems that that channel was able to produce, which is why it is without question one of my all-time favorites, and definitely one I'm most proud of above almost any other Final Fantasy or Devil May Cry matchup that I've ever done individually, or it's by far my favorite season finale matchup I ever did, and a lot of you guys also agree, so that's what gives it its number 4 spot on my list. Number 3 on my list also comes from Season 2, and unlike spot number 4, Virgil versus Sephiroth, which symbolized the ending of the season, match number 3 here actually symbolizes the beginning of the season, and that was the premiere episode for Season 2, which just so happened to be Cloud from Advent Children taking on Zack. This is probably, in terms of quality, in terms of performance, and in terms of actual personal breakdown, this is probably one of my all-time favorite matchups that I've ever done. I think this was a matchup that needed to be done simply because there's a lot of people that really don't give Zack the credit he deserves. And there's so much similarities between the two characters. I kind of want to do this just to kind of show that as a character how much Cloud as a person had really improved and grown as a character, because he still kind of carries some of that guilt that he carried from his Final Fantasy VII version. And I just really like how this one came together, and a lot of people enjoyed it too. Some of you may know that Cloud is tied with Squall in terms of being my second all-time favorite character, and they're both right below Auron, who's my number 1 favorite Final Fantasy character of all time. There's just so much about this that I really enjoyed. I mean, a lot of my friends that have known me personally have said that they see a lot of a Cloud in myself, and so the fact that I came up with a Versus Series matchup that involves Cloud taking on his best friend, I think made the matchup all that much more personal. And I think reputation-wise, Final Fantasy VII is, I think, considered to be like the most popular Final Fantasy of all time, and we the remake is coming out, so I don't know how much of that game is going to change how the character is. I hope it doesn't change much. I hope it's going to stay somewhat consistent, or it's going to at least add on to the character. But I just think that the analytical system that I had used during Season 2 had really been built upon everything that I'd done all across Season 1. I think Season 1 I was kind of starting to figure out how I was going to set things up, and I think Season 2 was really where I got everything down. I had everything where I needed. I had pretty much had like an entirely different experience, and this was going to be a symbol of everything that was going to come in season 2. And I think even to this day, I think most people might say that season 2 is their favorite season of mine. And if that's the case, then I'm happy, because I think out of all 5 seasons that I've done, season 2 is definitely my favorite as well. And it all started with this particular episode, and a lot of people have liked it, a lot of people have seen it, and even to this day, a lot of people continue to view it. They love it. They like how much respect Zach is given, and I absolutely love the ending. I think out of any conclusion to a matchup that I've done, this particular episode has my all-time favorite finish, because I think that is exactly how I think a fight between these two would end, which is why it is very, very personal to me, which is what gives it its number 3 spot on my list, which in a sense is special because 3 just so happens to be my favorite number, so it makes it all the more special. So on to number 2. Number 2 on my list actually comes from my most recent series, which is Season 5. And this particular matchup is probably the ultimate dream-up matchup that I had wanted to do since I had started my Versus series 5 years ago. And the reason why it's so special to me is because it involves the very franchise that inspired the Versus series. And when you go to, prominent YouTubers, or not really, maybe not prominent YouTubers, but YouTubers who are in the Versus series community, like, Jens Ryer, or Antoine Bandelet, or Evan Nova, or Ready 4, those guys, I'm shocked that they didn't do this matchup sooner. So I thought it was maybe destiny that I was going to tackle my ultimate dream Star Wars matchup, which just so happened to be ObiWan Kenobi versus Exar Kun. As I just said, this is a dream matchup for me. So as it's a shock that no one else had ever tackled it before, as far as I had seen. Maybe someone had, but I hadn't been able to find it. But I like my personal breakdown of it, and it is to its core a classic matchup. It is done in the traditional style, so it is in kind of the same sort of style that the other Versus series YouTubers would have done. I'm kind of saddened that chances are that none of them have seen it, but the fact that I was able to take my favorite character in Star Wars, which is, without question, Ewan McGregor's ObiWan Kenobi, and put him up against my all-time favorite lightsaber duelist of all time, is just something I never thought I was able to pull off. I'm kind of sad, as I said earlier, that it didn't get as much attention, because this is probably the one that was the most personal to me, and I put the most heart into it than I have pretty much almost any other match, because I was so concerned. I wanted to get this one right more than any other matchup, and I think that, to my sense, I think I did as good of a job as I could have done. I mean, no one's told me if they thought anything was wrong, and I'm more than happy to debate with anyone in the comment section that sees this video. But I think this was the culmination of me tackling the very franchise that helped inspire the series itself. So if it wasn't for Star Wars, there would be no 5 seasons of Versus series. So I think I kind of owed it myself to at least tackle Star Wars once. And I think that for my perhaps one and only Star Wars matchup that I probably will ever end up doing, I think I did a hell of a job. I'm extremely proud of what I did. I think some people are very proud, and there's some people who were, had very, very high expectations, and I had high expectations for myself. And I think while I felt maybe it could have done better, and it definitely would have acted as a major spark of inspiration to possibly attack Star Wars again in the future. I'm happy with the result, and hopefully somewhere down the road, maybe this video will get a major boost of views, and some people will see it and enjoy it, and they'll just wonder what could have been had there been a 6th season. So that would pretty much gives it its number 2 spot on this list. My number 1 and favorite Versus series matchup of all time that I've ever worked on is going to surprise everyone. I don't think anybody watching this, or anyone that's probably saw this or even thought of this video when they first clicked on it, is going to guess what number 1 is going to be, because to this day, coming from Season 2, and when you think about where this video was placed in terms of its creation, it is almost poetic, because my all-time favorite matchup of all time that I've ever worked on just so happens to be Titus versus Cloud. Now, this matchup was a complete response to the horrible experience I had when working on Cole McGrath versus Delson. And that matchup was just such a nightmare to work on that my thoughts are I have to work on something that is going to be almost equally as long lengthwise, but it's something that's very, very personal to me. It's going to involve someone who is a very, very personal character, and the outcome is going to shock everybody. And to this day, it is the most divisive matchup I have ever created. No other matchup I have done is as divisive as this one. None out of all 49 matchups, and I'm glad it is that way because there is no matchup I have worked on that I will not defend harder than this one. There's a number of people that to this day come at me with comments saying how ridiculous this match is and how the outcome is wrong, but I say no. I stand by the outcome because you are thinking about it as a fanboy, and trust me, I'm a Cloud fanboy. I have every reason to want to see him win. But regardless of how the outcome was, this is going to be probably the biggest upset of a matchup that I have ever done. In which, by saying that, I'm probably some of you guys who haven't seen this already are maybe curious or probably know how this matchup ended up going. But I just love the response it got. Just everything about it. It certainly did not get the most in terms of, views or thumbs up or thumbs down, but it really did push me in terms of me having to test myself as for how hard I'm willing to defend my own opinions. And I think everybody that attempts or everyone that's done a versus series kind of needs a matchup like that, because you're going to have that one matchup that a number of people or a lot of people are going to disagree with you on, and there's going to be a number of people you are going to be able to convince. And I think it's the ones that I'm able to convince are the ones that really make the versus series as a whole. Not just this, not it wasn't just that particular episode. It wasn't just that particular season. It was moving forward. It was this matchup that said, if you could put up such a strong defense and to this day still stand up for your defense for how this matchup played out, I think that you are more than worthy to have left your mark in terms of YouTube status, in terms of being part of the Versus Series community. And though it may be coming to an end, I don't think anyone could question that I certainly have left my mark, YouTube-wise, on this particular set of grouped YouTubers. And I think moving forward, this is definitely the one I'm going to remember the most. I will continue to defend it as long as I can, and there is nothing anyone can say that could change my mind on this matchup. I love this one more than anyone. I'm extremely proud. I will continue to defend it, and heck, if you disagree with me, heck, that's perfectly fine. But if you do manage to agree with me, or if I'm able to change your mind, well, then I'm definitely going to sleep very, very well tonight. So that ends my list, and that is why this will always remain my number one favorite Versus Series matchup of all time. And that'll do it for my list of my top 5 favorite Versus Series matchups that I've done for my channel. So now that you guys know my list, I would love to hear what are the top 5 favorite matchups that I've done that you individually have enjoyed. Share your list with me and everyone else in the comments down below. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome like always, and I will see you next time.